you did yours back in the spring, yeah?
In May. So this was your first
that was
of
my
this kind?
first, yeah, that was my first.
First of this kind or first for Vipassana?
First Vipassana, yeah.
Okay.
First.
But
I've done, you know, Thich Nhat Hanh.
Okay,
he's
yes.
a Buddhist.
Yes, yeah, I know.
So I've done something in one of his places in Blue Cliff, in New York. So I've done a few little things here and there. Yeah, that was like a 5-day, but it was only silent for part of the day. It was different. It was definitely different than what Vipassana is. Not as, it's not
as intense.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest difference that you found between the courses that you've done before and this one?
I would say the intensity overall, because the duration is longer. It's a 10-day course. It's really 12, really. With the in and out, it's closer to 12, or at least 11 and a bit. So the duration, the intensity within. So I didn't find the not speaking difficult. I don't know about you, gentlemen, but I found it pretty easy. But I do think that there were other people who were going a little bit stir crazy in the first few days with it.
Yeah, that's right.
And did you have people leaving?
Yeah, we
well?
had. We knew of two. That one for sure in our building.
Yeah.
You have to be ready, right? Mentally, physically, even all of that. So
it all depends on what level are you starting. I mean, if you're not exposed to any such activity or thinking before. Right? It's and you don't yearn to be quiet, and it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look forward to being by yourself and being quiet, then this is probably the perfect place for you to go, right?
Yeah.
You can dive right into
true vacation.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Really getting in touch. In fact, goes a little further than that, because it gives you nothing. It gives you nothing because there's no stimulus whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because even when you want to be alone in your so-called solitude, you do find escapes in small stimuli, that every now and then you can rely on. You'll write something, you'll watch something, you'll read something. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right. So that's another thing. There's no journaling. There's no reading. There's no yoga. There's no. The only thing that we could really do, which I did regularly, and mostly to stretch, because there is so much sitting involved.
How did you find sitting for it?
No, difficult.
For somebody as young as you, delving into this kind of thing.
How old are you, just for the record?
23.
Yeah, so that's pretty young to be doing something that intense, right?
Yeah, and I didn't practice any sort of sitting meditations before. So going in, the first 4 days was just physical pain, like figuring out the correct posture to sit in.
Right.
And I don't know how much of it was mental as well, but by day 7 or 8, like I stopped having any sort of resistance to sitting. Like before, there would be physical pain, and I would also like experience like a sense of boredom that I just want to get out of here now.
Right.
And I would be waiting for that end sort of song to come on.
Is it time yet?
Right. Is it time yet? Exactly. Yeah, but by day 8 and 9, I was like fully okay with the meditations. Like I was very present, and it was enjoyable. It became enjoyable by that time.
Yeah, I was going to ask actually, was it just bearable, or it actually flipped and you started enjoying it?
Yeah,
it's some qualitative change in your city, like to the extent that you actually started looking forward to it.
Yeah, I did. It wasn't like an excitement of looking forward to it. It was just there was no resistance to it.
Right.
I guess, and it was also it just was exactly, and that's what was the cool thing about it is that equanimity aspect.
Right.
That I was like whatever was happening, like I was just okay with it.
Right.
Right.
You weren't thinking, oh my gosh,
yeah,
what is
that I have to go do
3 more
this.
days of this or whatever.
Yeah, I wasn't excited for it, and I wasn't like I have to go
dreading
do this. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
I guess one of the things worth discussing is that we all 3 of us have been exposed to similar things, and we'd given it some thought, and was just thinking like what was it that you found different from your previous experience? Like what's changed? Was there anything that you brought back from the entire experience that you feel enhanced in your understanding of the whole thing? Or
I think so. For me?
Yeah.
So when I had done other meditation, for example, we would do an hour. I think there was almost a 2-hour block. But we only did that, one large sit a day.
Okay.
And then we had little talks and we did discussions and we did other, it was presented completely differently. So I think going into it, and really, like the first 3 days, as challenging as it is, because it's, you have to zone into doing nothing, and you go from all the stimulus, as we said, to nothing, and it is a big shift. But focusing on that really small area, I think that really brings your awareness in, and I think that, as we talked about before, you can really sense, you really start to sense the little, the cold and the dampness and the little hairs and the little whatever, like all of those little tiny feelings.
You're more sensitive to physical sensations and then like non-physical sensations as well in your body. And I think the ultimate goal is like when you go into situations, you have habit patterns of reacting to certain stimuli that you've been doing for your whole life. You've been reacting to them in that manner, and that reaction has just been solidifying. Firstly, this takes you out of all sort of those environments. So how do I describe it? So the power of those stimuli automatically sort of like it starts to dissipate because you're just not being placed in those environments.
The pull of them.
The pull of them. And then what I found, like after I got back, was that I'm more slow in a sense, in terms of reacting to these stimuli, and also
intentionally.
Exactly, and I'm also just aware that I'm in this situation. Oh, it's creating this feeling in my stomach right now. Okay, and then I'm aware that I shouldn't be acting out of this feeling at any point. Reactions. So my reactions have slowed down.
Right, which is how so many people have issues of anxiety and depression. All these things are anxiety specifically is very reactive, right? It's like, oh my gosh, what's going to come next? And they build up this fear or this intense feeling inside themselves, and then they can't quell it, they can't stop it.
That's
and
right.
it's coming back to now and being present again, and really, the equanimity and just, what am I doing right now? What's my breath doing? What's really going to happen? Learning that we can't control the future anyway, so why get so stressed?
Letting go.
Right?
And then even I'm in situations where anxiety comes on or whatever comes on, and I would have unconscious reactions in my body, my breathing would speed up, and I would go in this situation, my legs start shaking, you know what I mean? But all those things I'm aware of, and I notice if I keep my body relaxed and I keep my breathing slow, that feeling eventually goes away.
And your mind races more, right? Your mind would race more in that, and more thoughts, and sort of blanking that out a bit is sort of, I think, key to that kind of a situation.
I guess what he's trying to say was that when you get nervous in those situations, the body becomes fidgety as well, and then that kind of feeds back to a fidgety brain, so they kind of feed on each other.
Exactly.
Whereas now that you've learned this art of stillness, you are physically still, and so your mind is still as well. So you can, if the mind does get pulled out into a situation, the body doesn't necessarily follow, because how. So if you're aware of the body, you can hold it back, and then once you start holding your body back from its normal reactions, then mind settles as well. So that stillness basically.
That feedback loop is broken, so it's less intense, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's really, I think that's a great thing that people get from it. So
for me, it was, I was very resistant to the technique. Because I've been doing watching my breath for a long time, for the last 2-3 years. So I had read the concept of Vipassana before and heard about it as well, because some of my friends have been there, and Navneet had been there as well. And it was all about sensation. Somehow I couldn't reconcile how sensations are important. All along I've been studying that and reading that it's all about watching your breath, and this is something. It just doesn't marry with what I know about meditation and Vipassana. But I think big credit to Goenkaji, the way the discourses are structured, and his clarity, lucidity in which he expresses the whole thing. by the third day, he had gone so deep into the technique, the importance of watching sensations that, as they say in English, expression, I fell hook, line and sinker for that.
Yeah.
It was a kind of a moment of revelation for me,
Right.
that yes, this is the technique, and I knew exactly why this has to be the technique.
Right,
and, why,
and the way they go about it.
yes,
the way they
and
go
why
about it,
watching the sensations is an integral part of it. And then when I did go back to the original Buddhist techniques of watching your breath and read it in detail, you could read between the lines that it is actually alluding to watching sensations.
Right.
Yeah, so he basically has just picked up in its most pristine form,
Right.
because it has been delivered as such in those Burmese families, that he could express it in a very clear way. That you have to figure it out from the old Buddhist texts,
Right.
but he gave it to
Right.
us. Yeah,
Gave it life.
in
So
a
Goenkaji,
that's it,
he's
yeah.
just to explain that he is sort of the marketer, really. He's the one who brought it out and brought it to different countries and refined it and really made it what it is today.
Yeah.
And he does discourses at the end of each day. He does it, it's an hour or 2 hours.